Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about something that I view as the ultimate example of just how stagnant the AAA games industry is. Namely that what we gamers want seems to entirely consist of more of what we already have. After my review of Arkham Knight, I explained the gist of it to one of my friends, who happens to be a huge fan of the series and that game in particular. He simply said that he was aware that it was just a retread of Arkham City, but that's just what he wanted, more of what he already had. This seems to be endemic to the gaming world as a whole. After all, what has Activision been doing with Call of Duty for the last, 15 years? They've released identical games to do the exact same thing, only in different locales with different characters. In some cases. Or how about an even more egregious offender, the sports games? It's been joked that all they do from NFL 2013 to 2014 is replace the names on the shirts, but that isn't even a joke anymore. The games are 100% identical, they don't even touch up the graphics anymore. With sports games, however, I can sort of understand it. There isn't a whole lot you can do with a football game. You play football and that's about it. There aren't that many ways you can explore different parts of the human condition through kicking a ball around. BioShock, however, is a different story. BioShock was a major hit and one of the best games released that year. So it was obvious that 2K Games wouldn't let the series die after just one installment. But what followed was a travesty. BioShock 2 was exactly the same as BioShock. They hadn't changed anything. The game worked in the exact same way, with the same mechanics, the same set pieces, and the same fucking setup of one person constantly insulting you via intercom, and one person trying to guide you to success via intercom. I've seen fan-made level packs with more variation from the formula of the original game than this. They simply couldn't have been trying. At least Assassin's Creed tried to make the sequels to the first game bigger and better, and eventually explore some new territory of warfare like in Assassin's Creed 3, or take to the high seas as a pirate in Black Flag. How the flying fuck can a developer get away with releasing a bloody level pack as a sequel in this day and age? Maybe 2K should have done what everyone and their dog are doing right now, that is, release it as early access on Steam and rake in the profits with promises of possible future improvement while actually making nothing of note whatsoever and just dropping the game 2 months after release because they realized they had no fucking ideas to begin with. But that's another topic altogether. My little praise for Assassin's Creed there shouldn't however be viewed as me letting Ubisoft off the hook. I happened to get my hands on Far Cry 4 and, how to put this, it's the exact same fucking game as Far Cry 3. Nothing has fucking changed. The mechanics, the graphics, the set pieces, the weapons, it's exactly the same fucking game with no exceptions whatsoever. This time the game takes place in some kind of faux Nepal, but that would be much more of an impressive shift if I weren't still running around in a mountainous tropical landscape, the exact same fucking setting as the last game. The problem is, of course, that this is our fault. It's the gamers' fault. The publishers have no problem seeing the trends. They don't have to work that hard to figure out that if something is successful, they can just make more of the same and gamers would just lap it up. But the biggest steaming pile of bullshit in this whole mess is what happened with the Double Fine Kickstarter. See, Double Fine's head honcho, Tim Schafer, the guy behind such hits as the first 2 Monkey Island games and Grim Fandango, decided to start a Kickstarter campaign for a new adventure game. Now, he told people fuck all about the game, but people still threw money at it. How much money? $1 million in the first 24 hours, based on nothing more than the fact that it was an adventure game made by him. This is what's wrong with the industry in a nutshell. Fuck innovation, fuck moving forward, just make something like what we already have in droves and people will bombard it with cash. At least when buying a released game, you have ways of knowing what you're getting, but all Schafer had to do was fucking say that he was going to make something akin to what people already had, and he was showered with dosh. So not only do gamers seem to be no more than magpies going for whatever shiny is dangled in front of them, they don't even have the sense to actually wait until they know what a game will be before spending money on it. It could have been literally any pile of shit in the world. It could have been a sequel to fucking Big Rigs, but that doesn't matter, just give magpies more shinies. For fuck's sake, can people once, just once, try not to let me the fuck down at every turn? At times, this topic does stray into the subject of hype, but I'm going to reserve that to its own episode, because I've got quite a few things to say about that'll take some time. Speaking of which, I'm going to dedicate a whole nother episode to Peter Molyneux, because he's such a train wreck of a human being that he deserves it. Good night.